we've got Liv Taylor here with the transformation spot. We're going to find out about that because we're all transforming. Shocked in Namaste. I just have to tell my viewers real quick that this profile is Keegan Kerber. I have four names like Puffy, so if you can't figure it out, but professionally I'm known as Kurt Kerber, but to my friends I'm known as Sean or Keegan. I have four names too. I think Liv has a couple of names she's going to share with us, and Master of the Universe.
Now, mistress.
Johnny Wani. Only one person can call me Shawnee Wani on the planet, and that's the person in that box. Hollywood Squares. Okay, let me. Okay, so we got that part. Okay. Liv and I hammered out some really great questions, and we're going to start this interview. So, yeah, professionally, I'm Kurt Kerber, even though the profile is Keegan. I'm kind of feeling like a Keegan today. Happy Easter. And, to give context, we're in the middle of an extreme astrological grid purge through two eclipses. So we're going to talk about that. Easter, Ramadan, what have you, Passover, it's all happening. So in the midst of this tornado of purging and transforming, we've got Liv Taylor in Los Angeles and Shani Wani in New York City. So take it away, Liv.
It's so great to be here, Sean. Thank you so much for making the time, and I'm so excited that we finally can connect in the middle of this cosmic chaos.
Oh man, cosmic chaos is right. Oof. Okay. I've known Liv, I think around 8 years, 10 years in this lifetime.
10 plus.
A couple thousand other incarnations. I'm not going to say the unspeakable, but what we were doing. Anyways, okay, let's get ready to transform. So let the interview begin. I'm going to toss it right to Liv and say, what should we know about you? What's going on here today? What do you want to talk about?
Thanks, Sean. First of all, my name is Liv Taylor, and I live here in West Hollywood, California, and I've been here for 5 years. I know Sean from New York City, and I came out here about 5 years ago, and I'm a cosmetologist. I do hair and makeup. I've done hair and makeup for 25 years, and in the last 15 months, I've got to turn the brushes around onto myself, primarily because I started my transition about 15 months ago. So I'm a trans woman and still figuring out my journey. And yeah, so that's basically who I am and where I am and what I'm up to.
So you were doing hair and makeup, excuse me, you were doing hair and makeup, and then you started transitioning, and then you were like, hey, I'm going to get these trans women and I'm going to zhuzh them up with all my hair and makeup and interview them and transform them.
Yeah. I mean, in New York, I had a lot of experience working with VPs that were wanting to up their game and transform their look. And, it's not that I just work with trans women, but all women. I mean, hair and makeup is such an industry, and I really have the insight to, bring out the best in people.
Absolutely. So just to give a little context here, Liv and I know each other from recovery. And as you know, I am a guru, which means teacher. I don't know what I'm teaching, but I'm a guru, a shaman, and a healer. I was born that way, and I identify a lot with the trans journey. I feel like I could identify as twin-spirited. And our contact with Liv and I is really the basic is recovery and clearing and energy and sharing arcane knowledge and ancient wisdom. And that relationship between us both has kind of flowered. So it did start in recovery rooms, but then we became friends. Do you want to talk about your recovery, like a little bit, or what that means to you, your spirituality?
Yeah, sure. My first images of like seeing something outside myself. Well, first of all, I wasn't brought up I'm non-denominational. I wasn't brought up in any religion. My dad and my mom had problems with theirs, and so I didn't have any context. And when I think Star Wars came out and the Force was introduced, I really resonated with a power that was greater than myself that surrounded the universe and bound it together. And that was just the beginning. It's like there's spiritual wizards in that movie, but it's like it's so interesting because I think when we're younger, we're always trying to like move mountains with, or bewitched. And I think we're all really powerful in our own ways. And I think it's a journey. So I become more and more in tune with uh, the more I go, the less I know, but the more I know that there's something greater out there.
Uh, yeah, I mean, to give a little context on my story, real quick. Uh, as a kid, I saw this Disney film called Escape to Witch Mountain. I was like, oh, I'm like that. I'm gonna make the car fly. Yeah, so there was stuff around that let me know as a gay person, as a gay guy, gay kid. Yes. And then I got into recovery and I was like, I guess I'm coming out of the closet. I didn't always feel gay, but I definitely was not straight. So, speaking of straight people and heterosexuals, uh, what do you want? What does a trans person want a cis heterosexual to know? Like, what are the basics? And like, can you explain the proper term of being cis versus trans? Like, you got to give us all the
Sure.
background here.
I mean, from my awareness of it is that, trans has been around for, many, many years in different cultures, but it's becoming more prominent, especially with the advent of like the internet and social media. It's just like we're like, a community, not like on rocket fuel, new ideas, new concepts, just being thrown around. And so I think the cisgendered man or woman is what the term for somebody that's born a man or a woman. A cis male is like a straight male or born a male. Um, I'm not sure if it's a straight male, but let's just say it's a man, a male born individual. And same for cis woman, just to kind of give context of like what gender is. Um, and I think it's really kind of just as I mean, why are so many people coming out? I'm coming out late. I mean, I think, it's just like embracing like the truth of who our identities are. I mean, that's why I have. But I think what I want the like a straight person to know, or a cis man. I mean, first of all, I don't think they appreciate the term as much. I think it's more like for us to like kind of get specific, and we can talk about that later about the problems that creates. But I think I want people to know that I'm a person, you know what I mean, and that I'm on a journey just like everybody else is. I mean, we're just trying to figure it out here, and I've always identified as being feminine, and there was no context for that when I was younger. It's like all I knew is like that, how I felt wasn't okay, and the like they put my hair in a braid and call me Leafia, and I'd run around, and I felt really connected to that, but there was no conversation. And so it wasn't until like later on when I realized that, it's like I'm attracted to boys, that I must be gay. So there was only one other context, and that was to be gay. So I guess I want people to know that, we're all unfolding here on this journey. And I, like other trans people, are just figuring it out and owning the fact that we have a right to express ourselves. As humans, we have a right to be here, and we have a right for individual freedom.
Okay, well, just to clarify, I mean, I grew up in a time when I was just like happy to be the G, you know what I mean? Gay guy, G. And then they started adding letters. I don't really particularly understand all of them. Uh, you can be a cisgendered gay guy, right? Is that right?
I don't want to speak incorrectly. I'm a little fuzzy on that. On that, I think we in the transgendered or non-conforming gender identity refer to somebody who was born a male is a cis male. I don't know if it encompasses their sexuality, just their gender identity at birth.
All right. Well, if I'm confused, I'm pretty sure a lot of straight people are confused, and I'm in the community. But let's just go, and that naturally kind of like leads off into my next question. Uh, According to you and your journey, what is sexuality, gender identity, sexual orientation, and sexual expression? Are these all like I know from being a psychic, you know what I mean? People call psychics like 20 different things, and they're 20 different things. They
Mhm.
don't mean psychic. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, totally. I think sexuality and sexual expression are the same thing, and that is how you express your desires. Like I am, my sexuality is targeted towards the male archetype. My gender identity has changed as I transition. I realize that I am a woman, and it feels weird to say that, you know what I mean? Because it's really hasn't been for that long, but it's like I am born a male, and I am feeling feminine and female, and it goes back to kind of the twin spirited, conversation. But it's hard because we live in a world where, that's kind of woo woo, but now we have scientific terms, so like, but anyway, I think, and sexuality. So what was the other one? Gender identity is how you identify. So I, I think I kind of was trying on non-binary as like being safe, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna embody this creation, and I'm gonna be a she/her. That's just where I'm at today.
okay. So then, wait a minute. You have sexuality and sexual expression. That's the same.
I think so.
Okay. What do you think about the kids with the, uh, we want a qualifier for queer. We want a qualifier for asexual. We want, you know what I mean? Like, don't.
I know we used before about there being like 12 different categories now, like pansexual,
Yeah.
demisexual. I don't understand all of those. I'm just trying I'm trying to figure out my own what I identify with, and I think that it's just really great to see that there's a lot of leeway. And I don't have to understand all the other ones, but I love that I respect the other ones. Like whatever somebody's journey is or what they're experiencing. So I'm probably not the one to ask specifically about some of those.
Okay. Yeah. To give context on the twin spirited thing, I mean, me personally, I was born a triple Gemini with a Pisces rising, and that's 8 distinct astrological personalities. So, and it's 8, it's 4 men and it's 4 women. So, yeah, I do feel like I draw on both energies. I do feel like I am both genders. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but I do identify with twin spirited, even though I'm really cautious about saying that. But it's definitely valid, in my case. But let's go to the pronouns. So, hot topic pronouns, he, him, she, them, she, her, they, them, Caesar, dog self. Help me. I'm drowning. I don't, we all
Let's,
are.
I
Like, we
mean,
don't,
a pronoun, I mean, just some English 101, a pronoun describes a noun. So it's like, he, him, she, her, uh, dog, or flying, that is those are nouns. They're not pronouns. People like want to like have fun with it or be silly about it, then they can. Listen, it's a complicated issue. It started off kind of in the corporate world where there was a lot of transgender people coming out, and in order to not misgender people, people were adding their pronouns after their name for clarity. And I think it is should be used as a term of like respect, like we call Miss or Mrs. You know what I mean? Like, just to clarify, like, whether or not a lady is married, it's like, we're just clarifying for, anybody that might want to know. This is how I consider myself. It is yeah, it's a hot button issue, because we have a society that is divided, but we also have a society with a long history, and it makes people uncomfortable to go down these, like, like throwing up like the standard model that's been around for a long time. And so, it's just it's conflictual. It's conflictual, I'm sure, for the people that are like, I'm not going to use the pronouns, and it's probably conflictual for us because it's new and we're just trying to live our lives, and we just want to be accepted, and we just want to, like, well, some of us, I mean, I want to be successful, and I want to be this person. And it's just important to me that I get identified correctly. I don't take it personally if people don't, although some people get very upset.
well, in the context of the business world, I can see how, like, if you get a letter of correspondence, it's from Keegan Kerber. Sean is a non-gender name. I can't remember what it could be, either gender, and so is Keegan. This is like the weirdest thing, and I chose the two names that are like, when I rebirth, that could be either gender. So if you get a letter from me and you're like, oh, it's Keegan Kerber, you don't know if I'm a man or a woman. So, how do you address, or when you're going to go on an interview, you get ready, oh, you know, this person identifies as she. So, yeah, I mean, the water is kind of muddy, but then it's not like it. I don't know why so much got attached to that specific issue, but
I think we're really divided as a nation, and there's powers that be that want to keep people divided. It is not a new concept. It has been going for a long time. So to keep people at odds, you have to have groups that are targeted. It was, the blacks, the Mexicans, and women, and then the gays, and then now it's the trans community, or people that are non gender conforming, are really in the hot seat right now. And, again, like, then it's this news cycle. They're really trying to stir up the pot, whoever they are.
yeah, we're gonna talk more about we're gonna talk about passing and being clocked in a minute. But let's just clear this one thing up. Binary, non-binary, fluid, on the spectrum, on the binary. What I mean, I personally, as a Gemini, they're the true bisexuals of the zodiac. Uh, so if it's sex, but so can you explain that non-binary and what that means? Because I still don't understand that one.
Sure.
Or on the binary, like,
I think, if you look at the I forget the name of the psychiatrist. There's like a scale of sexuality, like gay to straight, and then bisexual's in the middle, and then there's like different, points on that curve. And now it's kind of like people are, even myself. I mean, I just thought it was that I was gay, you know what I mean? And that like I like men, I'm gay. Well, it's not so simple. Like I'm actually, my whole life I've been fighting against the fact that I want to be a beautiful woman, and I think that um, it's safer sometimes. I know, like when in the '90s, like there were guys that would go, "Oh yeah, I'm bisexual," because it was kind of a comfortable, midway point instead of coming out, especially in the times with AIDS and everything else, that it was just like like a developed subsect. I mean, maybe they were bisexual, but my point is, it's easier to test the waters to see, oh, am I okay here? Am I safe here? And with the non-binary, I think I did that too when I was first thinking about transitioning because it seemed safe. But I do want to say state by state is different. But here in California, you can legally check on your license if you want to be M for male, F for female, or X for non-binary. I cannot speak for classifications like non-binary. I haven't really asked. I'll probably do so when I start interviewing people a little bit more. But I think everybody, it's kind of like demisexual or pansexual. It's like it means something to somebody personally. And we're moving into an age where how we feel personally is valid. We're moving into the age of truth. And I think it's beautiful.
Well, we're leaving the age of Aquarius, the age of Pisces, and we're walking into the age of Aquarius. Nobody can really, there's no definitive answer on when it begins, when ends. It's, some people say it's 1,000 years. Some people say it's 100. Some people say we are in the Aquarius. When I go on TikTok and Instagram and I see this like fierce individuality, which I believe is healthy, that's a good thing. Like I don't belong in a box. Okay, that's great. I think that's where we're supposed to go. We're supposed to be creative with ourselves, and the old guard is very limiting, and we're walking into a time that is just the bottleneck is finally energetically opening up, and you're going to see more and more fierce individuality and opposition to anything that tries to control. So I think that's kind of where we are as a collective soul, as a nation. Um, so let's just bring it back to you personally, to your personal journey. Uh, when did you first know? Like, I knew I was gay. Uh, I knew I was not straight. I think if I had a driver's license in California under gender, I would put X. Like, I just love that. Like, I'm an X. But um, I was 10 years old and I had an erotic dream about a guy. And I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I heard the voice of God at like 10 years old. You're gay in this lifetime. Do not tell anybody and do not tell your family. And that's what I heard. It was an angel. I don't know what it was, but so that's my journey, really. I knew. I grew up in Southern California, half a mile from the beach. I mean, I would look at these guys. I just said their bodies are so. I would just
Delicious.
butterflies and like start shaking. Anyways, so where are you at in your transition right now? But I would like to hear like, and I think we all would like other trans people to like really share the full like at what point do you remember having a minute where you were like, oh, I'm a girl, I'm in the wrong body?
I did. Uh, my mom. I would go into my mom's closet and pull out. I remember there's this beautiful Hawaiian wrap dress, and I put on lipstick and makeup, and I just thought, wow, you were were so pretty. And I just wanted to be that, but there was no avenue for that. And if I express things kind of differently, like I would be called on it. Like, well, why are you holding your finger like that? Because I would drink tea like this.
I don't
My
know.
father, my father would go, "Why do you hold your finger like that?" It's like, I'm not doing it on purpose, honey. It's just, it's innately me. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm trying to be me. And, that's why it's taken me like probably this long. I did think about it I started off doing drag, and I just loved running around as a girl. And I think I would have gone into this direction, owned my identity earlier in my 20s. I just didn't have the balls. Sorry. Sorry, guys. But you know what I mean? I really just couldn't. I don't think I could handle like my family of origin stuff. I was still dealing with like my trauma. I was like going head into my addiction, and so it happens when it happens. I really feel that I had a lot of, I guess the important thing to let people know is like up until like a year and a half ago, had some real internalized transphobia, and my really good friend was transitioning, and I was like, oh, I'm really my gay best friend, um, and he was like, honey, I don't know if I'm trans, but you are trans, and I had to really think about it. I kind of was like, I mean, I knew that I was, but I guess I felt like I'll just wait till the next life, you know? Like it's too late for me. And what I want to let everybody know is it's never too late to do any fucking thing while you're still breathing. This goes for like work or passions, or like, changing your gender identity or owning your gender identity. I love Cher's quote: "If I want to take tits and put them on my back, it's nobody's business but my own." And I'm being really transparent here because I think it really helps a lot of people. But I love the ballsiness of just like feeling like you can do whatever you want to be empowered and authentic.
So, okay, wait, there's a confluence of things here. So, we're going to have to talk about drag at some point. I'm just curious to make the delineation of certain guys are gay guys and they like to just go and drag and entertain,
Mhm.
and it's a vehicle, and it's always been in our community. And then when you watch like RuPaul, blah blah blah, about 3 or 4 seasons ago, because Ru said we don't want trans people initially. She said no, this is for gay men who like to put on a dress, and that's it. And then there was some
Backlash.
conversation
Hmm.
in the community about all that. So why is I don't know if why is the right question, but why is like one guy a gay guy and just goes into drag, and then the next person is no, I'm trans, I'm a woman, I'm not putting on drag, I'm putting on my right clothes.
I think we've all been, like you said, paradigms are breaking down. And for better or for worse, I think COVID had a lot to do with that. We don't have to go to the office anymore, a lot of us, and or there's just different modalities, and people going, yeah, I can try on a life. I don't really know. I know that like it takes a long time to unwind and get to know yourself, especially in a world that doesn't give you a handbook on how to do it. Or the handbook was, here's some straight sex ed at 13. You know what I mean? I was indoctrinated into heterosexual community, when I was 13, and throughout my whole life, there wasn't a choose your own adventure back then. But thank God that like the avenues of freedom are starting to open up now.
This is like not in our list, but why do you think everything just kind of exploded in the media in the last like 7 years? Just kind of went.
Oh, I think definitely just like Instagram and TikTok, it's the same thing with like, people going, why is there so much war, or confusion? It's like there's always been war and confusion. We are savages by nature as a species. Now we just are inundated by it, and for better or for worse, I think it's really important for one to be their own monitor of what they like view all the time, because there's a lot of fear mongering out there, but there's also a lot of information. And I choose to look at the information and the inspiring stories.
Yeah. Okay. Is every transition is the goal complete physical transformation or not? Can you transition without really having any medical? Without is that possible or is that
Absolutely, absolutely. This is about personal choice and personal freedom. I think whether you or not you want to just put on a dress and call yourself a woman, you should be able to do that, if you feel like that gender. I mean, who am I to tell you that you have to like get tits and like get a sex change before you can identify? Again, there's a whole nother topic too on the flip side of why that scares society as a whole. But you know, um, I think it's just really important. Also, our journeys like are like a journey. You know what I mean? Like, some people might have that goal to change everything. I think you asked me a second ago where I am on my journey. I started hormones about 15 months ago. My breasts have gotten bigger. My fat is redistributing. I'm growing my hair out. Um, I I I dress up as a woman. I put on women's clothes and makeup and earrings and live my day, and pursue my life. And I will probably get FFS, which is facial feminization therapy. I'm. I'll just say that I grew up hating a lot of things about myself, not having any body hair or having a really feminine face, and who knew that I was perfect the whole time? You know what I mean? In my own, you know what I mean? There was nothing wrong with me. Not that there's anything wrong with anybody anyway, but I'm just giving you like my own personal take on it. If I had known then. I don't know where my journey will go. I kind of feel like I'll get breast augmentation. I don't think that I will get bottom surgery. I think it's such an invasive surgery. It's not. It's. I don't think it's right for me. I'm also started my transition at 53, and I just feel like it's a journey, and this is just where I'm at right now. I hope that answers your question.
okay? Yeah, I mean, basically the journey is a lot of times things unfold to us. It's an unfolding that we weren't aware of. I do know as a healer, I draw on primarily almost all female, and most of my clients and fellows that I've channeled for say, uh, to me, when you're working, you're all female energy. And I kind of embraced that. I was like, yes, that's true. My problem is not with the divine feminine, and you've got the conversation of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the toxic masculine, but the toxic feminine too. Both have to be accountable and clean and clear. They have to feed each other. But do you see? So, is your thing? I want to live fully as a woman. That's it. Period. Right?
Yeah, I do so now.
Okay. Okay. And what would you say as encouragement to the people that are like they don't know if they're trans or they don't know, like call you? They should just call you, right?
I mean, I think that is it's definitely an inside job. You should probably, I would recommend that you talk to friends and talk to confidants and kind of suss it out. Maybe talk it over in therapy. I just started therapy probably about like 3 or 4 months ago again. And it's it's a whole it's a real exploration on what makes me tick.
Okay, so I came to New York, an active alcoholic. By the grace of God, I got sober under the court system at 24 in New York. And even though I was from Los Angeles, and there, I mean, like my eyes were like this big, a kid from Orange County, but I knew I was in the right room with all the gay people. And it was anything goes back then. I mean, people were just really starting to claim what they were. And so you had daddies and bears and otters and, BDSM lesbians from hell, and you had lipstick, and, there were all these trans people in 1984. I mean, and that was pretty racy back then. And I ended up getting a mother-in-law from this guy that I was dating in recovery. His mother-in-law was crisis. And so I had a trans mama uh, very early in my life, and there was always trans people. But excuse me, there was always trans women, but I didn't see. They called them drag kings, but I never encountered in those first 10 years, 20 years of sobriety. I didn't encounter a trans man, and then I don't know, about like 8 years ago in the recovery rooms, there was like plenty of trans men. So is there any way, I mean, do you have any thoughts on that? Like why, in the 80s, there were no trans men, and now trans men are like all over the place on YouTube and in the rooms.
I think it's just becoming. I think there were a lot more like masculine identifying lesbians, and they saw the avenue, like I see the avenue, to really embrace like their masculine side and become trans men.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, but I do think the ratio of trans women to trans men is, you know, for every one trans man, there's like 50 trans women. It's not as pervasive. And the surgery is, let me see, if you're going to go surgery. So the surgery is, it's the hormones and then remove the breasts, right? If you're going to do that whole thing.
I can't really speak on that as much just because I think everybody's different, and I mean I'm really kind of more on the flip side of that, but you know what I mean? Like I don't know if people feel they need to. I know a lot do. Um, I do see a lot of trans men out here. It's wild, and there's some really handsome ones, so it's really great. I give them props uh, for doing what they do.
Yeah, well, in the recovery rooms, I'm sitting in the back row. I'm not paying attention. And every time this one person, a guy would like speak, my ears would prick up and I'd be like, who's that? Like, who's that? He's sexy. You know what happened? Uh, he finally came out as trans in the meeting. And I was like, to tell you the honest, I was like, I don't really know if I'm ready to date a trans man. I don't know if like my heart is full of that much love, or I'm afraid I'm going to say something wrong and I don't want to hurt the person, or there were like so many questions. And, I've been fascinated with the trans issue for like over 30 years. When the internet started, I found this blog from a woman that was transitioning. And I mean, I couldn't stop reading. It was the most fascinating because I just identify with so much of it. Uh, the body issue, the relationship to your mind, to, your genitals, what happens, all of that. And so I never asked him out. and then we got COVID, and all the meetings disappeared. But anyways, uh, what? Let's go to a little. What's going on the political spectrum here, and I'd like to get your thoughts about you know the Florida thing, the Disney thing, this talking about sex in the classroom, because yeah, context. I was in third grade, and they carted us into the lunchroom and showed us sex education videos and said, "Okay, if anybody's got any questions, ask." And I was like, I knew I was gay then, and I was like watching this ridiculously stupid animated film. They don't tell you the context of like the psychic, mental, spiritual, like all of that. What if you get somebody pregnant? What if you get an STD? What if you're gay? What if you're and they weren't like, so yes, I was being indoctrinated into heterosexuality, but so these people are like, we don't want to talk about sex in the classroom with kids. Yeah, excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, I was in 1970 or something. They're carting in having the conversation about sex. Yeah, but it was just heterosexual sex, and you were just supposed to fall in. So all these people are like, "You're indoctrinating." Yes, you said it before in the interview, Liv. They were indoctrinating me. Like, but what are your thoughts? What you
I
know?
just like, it's not like because we have a voice, we're actually changing people's like gender identities and sexualities. I mean, some people are going to be. I mean, I know that there's some people that are like, have jumped the gun, let's say, on their transition and might regret that, and those voices are louder. But the reality is that there's a lot of people that don't fall into the normal box, of heterosexuality. And it's been thousands of years. So, like, now we have the opportunity. Times are just changing and it's amazing. It's just like, it kind of started with like, I mean, I even want to say it started like with Me Too, and like now there's just a real breaking down of like, you can't treat women like that. Now you can't not give like, people of color like, jobs. Like things are really getting shuffled, across the board. And, you know, those of
We lost you, sweetie. Let me see if we can get Liv back here. I've actually got her on a messenger. Hang on. Oh, wait, she almost came back. There you go.
sorry, technology glitch.
Okay, good. I'm glad you came back. Uh, I'm really glad you came back. Uh, all right. What would you say to your 16-year-old self? You're in the nuclear hetero family. You're being bombarded, probably teased to death, bullied, just like me. I mean, my body didn't grow. My body shut off actually at puberty. Like I literally was afraid to become a man or an adult. It was terrifying. I don't know what I would say to my 16-year-old self. Maybe I'll answer it after you. What would you say to your.
I mean, I guess I would say to my 16-year-old self, you're you're okay just the way you are. You know what I mean? Do not be afraid. I don't know if it's just a trans thing or a gay thing. Being young is just really hard in this society. But for me, it was just extra layers of guilt and shame that I didn't have any way to talk about. So I would just like to just be like, you have a right, you're okay. and explore all the things that you do have. Explore your gifts.
I'm not sure what I would say. I would say, phew, don't drive so fast. Um, don't drink too much. Yeah, that was all. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody could speak to that 16-year-old. That was me. I was pretty much after like 12. I just was not there for about 20 years. Uh, I got bullied a lot, and I didn't know how to stand up. I didn't know how to talk back, but I definitely learned. Let's go to the dead name just for people to qualify. So, I have rebirth like 4 times, and yeah, I took a couple different names, trying it out. I wanted to be normal instead of Kerber, this like incredibly gifted person beholden to the gift. Then your whole life's about the gift. I took on Sean because I just wanted to be a guy with a truck and a dog, and I tried it on and I loved it, and I kept that name as a bartender, and I just kind of like slowly like became Sean. Like I
I
was
think
born Kirk, but I really chose Sean.
that's a perfect example of just like, having an idea of who you want to be and exploring it, and it doesn't matter what your sexuality is. I mean, straight people can do that too, but for us, it's definitely more of a, am I a Kim? Am I a, am I a Liv? And I've tried on different things, for different reasons. So yeah, a dead name specifically is, I think, if I didn't want to use the name I had on my birth certificate or my boy name, it's like we buried that person. I personally am in transition, and I'm changing things as a journey. I'm not just like, you know, gonna tell people like, don't call me that. Um, I, it's a little early to talk about my parents. We'll have to talk about that in a future video. But I think that you just have to do things as comfortably as possible and as safely as possible.
Well, you also find out like exactly who people are. Because like when I said, hey, I'm only going by Kurt Kerber to my clients from here on out, and I'm going by Sean or Keegan, you get your choice. And they were like, oh, I'll never call you that. Like, you're Kirk. And you know what? You need to go because you're not respecting me. And you're not honoring what I'm trying to do. And you're not asking questions or what. And so, yeah, I got some flack, and I just, there were people that were like, "Oh, that's great," and like really generous with you with that one, and then there's people that are like, "Oh, no, 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 I," So you learn about yourself, but you really learn who other people are, by really like I'm doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, uh, let's go into. So we did talk about the medical transition a little bit, but
Drink water. Sorry for my water pause, Sean. It rings every hour to remind me to drink water.
no, that's okay.
Hydration is key as a makeup artist. Drink water. Drink
Your,
water.
your Alexa is female. Your Alexa is a lady, but I went in and changed the voice on mine. It's a, it's an Australian man, I think, voice.
Does he yell at you and tell you to clean up your
Let me
room?
see. Alexa, say hello.
Hello.
Did you get that or no? Alexa, what's the weather report?
In New York, it's 53 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies.
Alexa, stop.
Tonight,
Yeah, so it's a dude. Anyways, okay. Medical transition. What I
Off, they turn on a heartbeat.
what's your is it for everybody? I mean, it's daunting. What these people don't realize is how hardcore that is. Like that is, I think, the most hard. It's very hardcore. If you're gonna like take your tits out, or you're gonna cut your dick off, or you're gonna get this full. I think it's really hardcore. I am 63 by the grace of God. I have not had any work. Nothing. No Botox. It kind of like I don't know if it's for me. But what are your thoughts? I know you're going to.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think, they're not using hacksaws these days. And, medical, listen, I try to keep an Eastern philosophy about a lot of things and then take advantage of Western medicine where it suits me. So in situations like this, I mean, I'm not really, um, I don't find it daunting.
Right. Right, because you have such a hardcore motivator. Like I think if I was a trans woman, I mean, I would go full Laverne Cox. And she's like some of these women are just, to me personally, very attractive. I could see myself dating a trans woman. I could. I think I could do that. Uh, but I've prayed for a husband for 30 years, so that's probably not in the card. But, uh, we're coming down into the home stretch on this. Passing ins and outs, being clocked, not being clocked, passable, not passable. Like a straight person needs to know about all that.
Um, it is the term is triggered. Like when you don't feel okay, you are triggered. You know what I mean? It comes in all shapes and sizes. I think for gender expression, uh, you know, it really it's enough of a mind fuck to try to realize that you are and accept that you're in the wrong body, not wrong body, but a body that doesn't really fit your how you feel, and that you're going to make changes. And so along the way, like I don't mind saying I've got hair in right now. My hair is getting longer. It's about shoulder length, but I have some hair in for this little interview. And when I wear hair, it is like a big, like it really just like adds some fuel to my fire, both just how I feel and how I look. So, um, you know, but because people in their transition may have to get like electrolysis or FFS. It's dangerous out here. It's dangerous out there for trans women. I live in Los Angeles, so it's like I'm pretty lucky and pretty safe, but there's a lot of people that are not as fortunate. And if you don't, if you're not looking like the gender that you are feeling deep inside, and you're in a place where it's not safe, you can get hurt or killed. I mean, that's really the at the end of the day, and that's why it's becoming, sanctioned in the medical establishment to help people transition to look their gender identity for safety reasons, number one, and also emotional wellness, number two. So I'm really thankful, that the landscape looks like this today, that I have the opportunity to live, my life authentically.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time in the history incarnation of this time around the will, where all the medical stuff is kind of available. Like it really, I mean, if you think about, I think it was Irene Jorgensen, uh, somebody else too. They were like pioneers in, I think it was Irene Jorgensen. And then you go all the way fast forward to Caitlyn Jenner, and boy, that's a whole other interview talking about that one. Me personally, I can't stand her. I think she's a fucking nightmare, and I have nothing but bad things to say about her. But it's not because she's trans; it's just the way she handled it publicly. She said, you know, in her slurred, like 85-year-old speech, to Anderson Cooper, I just don't think that gay people should get married. I'm like, what? What? Yeah, she just transitioned, and she's like,
In the words of Ricky Gervais, she didn't do a lot for women drivers.
yeah, she didn't do a lot for anybody but herself. Anyways, okay, let's get her out of here. So we talked about being twin spirited. What does that mean to you? Do you identify? I identify it as a medicine term. Uh, I think it's a medicine person that would really be that.
It's
Uh,
it's growing on me. It didn't feel authentic, but I think I'm in the process of educating myself on a metaphysical, um, level. So, more shall be revealed.
okay, so we're wrapping it up now. What is the transformation spot, baby? Let's get to the good stuff.
The transformation spot launches April 8th of the solar eclipse. I am doing a YouTube podcast where I take women that are transforming their lives and specifically trans women to bring their inner beauty out. And we'll have kind of like a powwow on the couch, just like this, similar questions, and just to get to know. I think it's really important, and why I love this format with you, Sean, is like we're getting to talk about like our journey here. My journey. What you think about it. I think it's just important to not peg anybody as like a type. In this journey that we're on transitioning, and that's what I hope to really give a voice and a platform to, is just to learn more about, because every person is different. So I'm looking forward to having a different conversation with every person, and finding out what their journey is. I'll also kind of ask them, because I'm a cosmetologist and I have 25 years in the beauty industry, like their definitions of beauty, and then I'll give them kind of like a overview on like what I think we can do, and I'll do their makeup, I'll transform their hair, and I'll take a beauty shot or a headshot, and then we'll have a little wrap up on the couch, just to check out their experience and just see how it is to be able to like really put their best face forward in the world.
Yeah, bringing out the natural beauty that's there, the natural thing that's there. I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I think we should set up an interview where you interview me about my gender story, because it's really fucked up. It's fucked up. My sister was lonely, and she would put me in, like dresses, and tell me, talk like a girl, dance like a girl. And my stepmother blew in there, and she saw this going on. Holy shit, she blew a friggin' fuse. But then, my stepmother was also the one saying, we got a little fag on our hands. She wasn't nice about it at all. Like, she didn't try to understand. She was like, stop it now. Like, stop. Like, just
Well,
like, it was
I
like a
think
gardening activity.
the
Like,
whole problem is like it all stems from fear, and so to be able to look at our parents as fearful individuals who didn't really see anything except like torment and AIDS, around anything that wasn't going to be like considered status quo. And I guess I try to like look at their shoes a little bit, and the rest of the world, and like their uncomfortability, because you catch more bees with honey, or more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I think really trying to be like kind and loving, and bringing in an audience to like expand their awareness is really like the key here as we all move forward.
Yeah, more will be revealed, as they say. So we're going to put this on several platforms. So we're starting with Instagram. I'm going to toss it on if I can get it on TikTok, but I think it might be too long initially. It could go Facebook, YouTube. So we're going to put the information like down if it's on YouTube. But real quick, where can people find you?
Um, you can find me hopefully launching on April 8th on YouTube at Transformation Spot or The Transformation Spot. You can find me on this platform. Obviously, it's Liv TLA is this handle for Instagram. And I'm also uploading Transformation Spot on Instagram and TikTok as well. And I'll have my contact how to reach me on either of those platforms.
Okay. Uh, yeah, we will get you the contact, but it's basically Liv Taylor, LA. You can find her. She's easy to find. Do you want to toss out your email, your best email right now?
Um, I guess the best one is the Solution Group CA, the Solution Group California. So the Solution Group CA at gmail.com.
Because I know I get a lot of letters in my what I'm doing in my journey about of being a healer. I get like these detailed emails. I mean, my name's been out there 20 years, but uh, are you welcoming new people to tell you their trans story? Are you open
Yeah,
to
I think if somebody wants to talk to me, or like possibly it's an interesting conversation that we can have to bring awareness to more people. That's amazing. If somebody wants to use my services for hair, makeup, styling, photography, we can talk about that too. I really know how to transform somebody, and that's why I'm doing this format. As a working hair and makeup artist here in Los Angeles, and many years in New York, I have a lot to bring to the table, and I really want to help people. I really want to help people like have amazing lives.
it? Yeah. So start sending Liv your trans story if you're trans. And she's going to read everyone and return them all and then give you a glow up, a glow out. I noticed that Kenny, who knows me as Keegan. Hey, Kenny. Kenny's been watching my TV show for over 20 years. I met Kenny on, Kenny and I are like this. I did an art piece of Kenny in his living room. Kenny, we're just talking with Liv Taylor of LA and talking about trans. Uh, Hangout, we're about to end, but the live feed will be like ready for you to see on Instagram. Okay, so closing thoughts. We did it. We got here. The context is, I mean, we're in the middle of this huge purge. Yeah, Kenny, I think you should talk to Liv too about your journey if you want to. Anyways, okay. Okay, so we're in the middle of the shitstorm of change right now. So yeah, this makes sense that we did the interview. I'm thankful. It makes perfect sense. The transformation, we're all transforming into our higher selves, and I love that. And I believe ultimately the planet will benefit from all this. But what are your closing thoughts, baby? Wrap it up for us.
Yeah, I my words of wisdom, and to wrap it up, is to try to stay out of the fear. They, they, whoever they are, they want us to be afraid. Just try to like live in love and tolerance, and explore who you are as a person, and just try and make the world a better place. I don't think that we can lose if we are all putting that as our mind frame. As we walk out the door, and we just love yourself and keep it fluffy and gorgeous.
Everything's something what did you say? Every minute something delicious.
Yes.
The juiciness. So we're going to wrap this up with peace and love and joy and safety for all travelers, psychic, spiritual, mental, sexual, gender, everything. It's your journey, man. And we're really glad that you hung out with us today and watched us. I am wishing you infinite blessings in every reality imaginable, every timeline and dimension imaginable. Shakti. And Liv, do you have a closing prayer, and then we'll wrap it up.
Just keep it real. And Sean, I love you so much, and I'm so glad we got to hang out and get a deep dive in.
I love you, baby. I big hugs. I can't wait to come to LA. And happy birthday to you. Yeah, Liv, born in a crossfire
Honey,
hurricane. And she's got a birthday in the middle of this whole.
honey,
You were born in this whole mess. Like, that's significant. I got to
yeah.
tell you. So, anyways, okay. So we'd like to thank you, and we'd also like to invite you to check out our social media, and we'd like to thank you for showing up. And thank you to our guest, Liv Taylor of LA, Los Angeles. And yeah, check me out, professional Kerber. And my profiles are Keegan and Sean. I'm like Puff Daddy, baby. I got 4 names. So that's going to be it on this Easter Sunday. I'm glad to be here. And Liv, I will see you in the Cyber Temple of Love and all of the travelers who watched. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Shakti. Amen. Namaste.